The archipelago of Madeira is located at 280 nautical miles off the African coast. The island of Madeira is by far the largest in this archipelago and also the only inhabited island. The rocky island is at the top of a large shield volcano which rises up from the seafloor. The expedition team will explore the mountains, heartland and waters of Madeira and find out how much wildlife can still be found on the island of eternal spring. We start back where the first explorers of Madeira started as well, on the coast.
On 1419, explorers landed off the Madeiran coast and claimed her on behalf of the Portuguese crown.
Commercial crops were planted on the island to make them profitable, and soon ships from all over the world will dock in Funchal, the new capital of Madeira.
By 1490, Madeira was one of the largest sugar producers in the world. This helped fund the churches behind me in Madeira, but maybe more importantly, this also gave rise to a very special drink. This drink called the sugarcane rum. Viva!
Now that we have experienced the busyness of the city, we will further explore the coast by driving along the coastal roads to the west.
I'm now standing at one of the second largest sea cliff in the world. This sea cliff is 580 meters high. From here the surrounding area can be viewed.
We will continue our trip along the coast to the westernmost point of Madeira, after which we will drive to the northern coast.
Yeah. Madeira has always seen a great deal of shipping since it is strategically located between Europe, Africa and Southern America. The Ponto do Bargo lighthouse protects the ships since 1922.
We are coming up on Porto Muniz, a small town which lies on the northern coast. This town is most known for its natural pools. The saltwater pools were created by volcanic rock back when this volcano on which Madeira lies was still very active. Nowadays the explosive history of these pools is hardly noticeable, and they have become a safe haven for tourists and locals alike. Driving further along the northern coast, the change in vegetation is immediately noticeable, as the north is home to the large Laura Silva forest. To explore this forest further, we have to say goodbye to the coast and drive inland for the first time of this expedition.
If the coasts are the entrance to Madeira, it can be said that the Laura Silva forest is its heart. This forest lays on the northern side of the island, where it rains much more. And because of the unique characteristics of the Laura Silva, it holds all the moisture. This is the cause of the island's fertile lands. The Laura Silva is a large laurel forest which used to populate much of Europe. But right now, Madeira is one of the only places in which such ancient forests can be found. I'm standing right now in one of Europe's most ancient forest types. These laurel forests used to be everywhere, but right now the largest one is found in Madeira. It's an evergreen forest type which is a refuge for many of Madeira's endemic species such as the long-toed pigeon. Because it is a special forest type, the Laura Silva is a UNESCO World Heritage Site since 1999. These forests grow in moist conditions, and this is the perfect location for that. Northern trade winds hit the mountains of Madeira and large clouds of mist form on the northern coast. The forest absorbs much of this moisture and is a natural purifier. This has made the Laura Silva Madeira's source of water. When the colonists came 600 years ago, they used this water source by making hundreds of canals to transport this water to the rest of the island. These canals are called levadas. Because most of the population and the farms are in the south of Madeira, the water had to be transported from the north to the south. This was done through the mountains. To do this, the levadas were built. To get the water to the south, the levadas have to get through the mountains. To achieve this, kilometers-long tunnels were built. Their total size is estimated to be between 800 and 5,000 kilometers long. But because most of them are in disuse, it cannot be said for certain. Right now, many of the levadas are no longer being used for irrigation, but serve a more touristic purpose. The dry channels form a large hiking network through much of Madeira's beautiful mountain range. Currently we are walking next to the levadas, which serves as our hiking path up to the highest mountain, Pico Rival. Kan ik serieus blijven?
Die kun je niet opeten.
Due to the trade winds which cause unpredictable weather, the ascent of Pico Rivo can be quite dangerous. But when you arrive at the top, the view makes it all worth it. This is the highest point of Madeira, Pico de Rivo, 1861 meters high. And because it has a prominence of 1500 meters and more, it classifies as an ultra-prominent peak. The mountain range of which Pico Rivo is the crowning piece runs all along Madeira and reaches the Atlantic Ocean at the eastern tip of Madeira in a rather spectacular fashion. This peninsula is Porta de São de Lourenço. It's an important nature reserve since 1982. It It lays at the point of the volcanic east-west rift which runs through Madeira. Since 1982, it is an important nature reserve for all kinds of wildlife like the monk seals, endemic plants and the many types of seabirds. While the island seems to end here, our journey will go on as Madeira continues on the water.
We are currently flying above one of Madeira's greatest treasures, its oceans. And while these waters seem to house endless amounts of fish, this is far from the truth. The waters are continually threatened by an increase of fishing as the island's population keeps growing. But also the increase in tourism threatens the habitat of much of Madeira's endemic flora and fauna. Luckily, more and more areas are protected. One of these areas is the nature reserve Parque do Garrigão, where we will be diving soon. These marine nature reserves are a refuge for all kinds of flora and fauna and are thus the perfect place to observe them. This marine nature reserve lies at the southern coast and is a very exciting place to dive. It has been an official nature reserve since 1986 and protects a vital part of the ocean. Many different kinds of fish can be found here and it's most famous for its groupers. The fish we see here is a small group of white sea breams, but they are quickly joined by a much larger fish. The island grouper, also known as the comb grouper. Even though this grouper is classified as endangered, it can be found plenty in Madeira. This grouper is quite curious and wants to know what these divers are doing here in his territory. What we can see here is a fish cleaning station, where a much larger fish is cleaned by some small fishes. And here it seems even the divers have to be cleaned by this small shrimp. we dive further into this small valley, we can see the Atlantic trumpetfish, with a very elongated body and beautiful zebra-like stripes on its tail fin. Certainly not everything we see here is beautiful, because a bit further on, between the rocks, we see this ugly brown beast. It is a brown moray eel of up to 1.5 meters long. Finally, we see this small bottom feeder looking for something to eat in the sand below. Because of its unique position, Madeira is a refuge for many marine species. This makes it all the more important that these areas are protected. A very special species is a prime example of why protection is necessary. Up until 1981, the Madeiran economy was highly reliant on whaling, as the island did not have electricity everywhere. Instead, whale oil was used, and thus whales were hunted industrially. Since then, whales have become protected, and the Madeiran island group is once again a safe haven for many kinds of cetaceans. To find the cetaceans, we will be heading out by boat, and because of Madeira's geography, you do not have to go far. This is because the ocean floor drops quickly as you go out to sea. Even right now, we are only a couple of kilometers offshore and it's already more than 1000 meters deep, easily deep enough for whales and dolphins. The dolphins seen here are the common dolphins, but on these tours, very often there are also whales to be seen. This is proof of the benefits of protection of these waters. And the whales and dolphins are an excellent example of how good protection can not only benefit the environment, but also be good for the Madeiran economy, because right now, whale and dolphin watching tours are one of the most popular activities on this island. But to marvel at the wonders of the waters around Madeira can also be done much closer to shore. Snorkeling offers a great opportunity to see the fish in their natural habitat.
Even though snorkeling does not grant us the same freedom as diving, it does allow the snorkeler to see much of the flora and fauna living near the surface. Snorkeling and all the other ocean wildlife related activities once again allow mankind and nature to reconnect. And by letting the ocean's best ambassadors speak for themselves, it is to hope that Madeira's waters will be even more protected in the future.
During our exploration of Madeira, we have seen some of the most beautiful landscapes and fascinating flora and fauna. With that, Madeira is one of the best examples of the benefits of protecting nature. Since 1999, more than 2/3 of Madeira is a nature reserve or a UNESCO World Heritage Site. They offer a great example of how to go forward and show an island whose wildlife will be protected for many years to come.